You in the brig for what you've done, but I won't do it.
Welcome back to the Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast. This is volume 99. I'm Al Ducharme in Studio City, California. My partner, Al Romas in Tampa, Florida. And this is part 2 with Bill Burr. That's right. We're going to pick right up where we left off. Bill was talking about comedian Robert Kelly helping him with some technology back in the day that eventually led to the creation of the Monday Morning Podcast. Let's listen in. So then a year later-ish, you start the Monday Morning Podcast. And from what I see, pretty consistent. Did you know that that was going to be a platform that was going to be...
I had no idea. That was Bobby Kelly.
Bobby Kelly pushed you? Bobby,
technology, next level. Bobby has Bobby probably got the vaccine last year. That's he just is fucking... Bobby is as close to in the future as you can be. He has shit that you've never even heard of. So he said, he was like, dude, I was over his when we were both living in Manhattan, and he was like, dude, they got this thing, dude. It's a new way to connect with your fans, and it wasn't called a podcast. It was just you called in this service. I had like a flip phone, and I would call in, hey, this is Bill. Thanks for coming to my MySpace page. I'm going to be at the Funny Bone in Columbus, and what's going on with me? And I would just sort of, the first few that I did were just 3-4 minutes. It was like building a stand-up act. I just got more and more comfortable. Then I started doing them in airports, making fun of the humanity I was looking at. And then all of a sudden they were like 20 minutes long.
Right.
And then I was just going, well, how else can I keep it going? Let's have listeners write in. It's just very I had no idea that someday, Joe Rogan was going to do it, or Mark Maron. Mark Maron had literally the standing president came on his podcast.
Unbelievable.
Joe Rogan has had the goats of so much, everything from fighting to conspiracy theory to scientist, politician.
Everybody.
In this last election, all the top people wanted to go on his podcast to promote themselves to become president. He really is. I feel his show is what the Tonight Show was.
Right.
When Johnny Carson, Joe can literally make you a star at this point.
Walk over to the chair. Have a seat.
But I remember doing his podcast when it was in his house.
Right. I saw some of the crude ones on YouTube from the very beginning. He's got a snowball thing and setting it up. He knocked it over on the coffee table. It was just what are you doing? But I will say, you don't have many guests on. And
no.
I always thought that was a good thing because you can do it on your time. There's no scheduling. It's a headache to get people on.
Oh, yeah.
And
dude,
with
I'm
schedules,
stuck in traffic. I got to reschedule. And then your listeners want the thing to come out. Yeah, it's something that worked for me on this, but it's also something that hurt me for a long time in this business, that I am a bit of a loner.
Not anymore. You got a house full over there. You got 2 kids now. And Nia and you guys, I'll tell you something. I'm changing the subject just slightly because of the ADD, but I've seen you around your daughter, and I've seen you on the phone with your son, and you're not the Bill that I know. You're
no.
You are dialed in. You are daddy. You're a cool dad, I guess. I don't know what happens when you hang up, but you're the cool dad. I just didn't picture that as you being a cool dad. Don't be offended by that, by the way.
No. It took me 30 years to kind of undo the first 20 years of my life to understand what the fuck that was. And then, you either repeat stuff or you just, it's not like everything was bad. I kept a bunch of shit that my parents did, that I saw other parents do, bunch of stuff from the 70s and 80s and shit, like how to handle yourself.
F is for family.
Yeah, stuff like that. But then this other things that I was just I don't like that. And I think that really caused me to go down some bumpy roads. But there's always that weird thing where it's well, if that didn't happen, do I become a comedian? Or am I just a happy guy that opened up a small business in my town that got decimated by a fucking pandemic? So in a way, I've been really lucky that shit happened. But, I mean, I don't know what kind of person you would be if you deliberately steered your kids towards the same shit that you went through. So, yeah, no, it's one of the few things that totally lives up to the hype, becoming a parent.
I can tell. It's in your eyes.
I love it.
Yeah, again, we're going to jump around a little bit here, and then I want to talk about the documentary. I didn't mean to go right from your family to the documentary, but Patrice, we touched upon it very little in the beginning, and then we went off. But he was interesting, dynamic, unusual dude, and I know him from the Bruiser days. And him starting out doing stand-up, but he clicked with you guys, and you guys started going off. He was a part of your little troupe there. But I do remember him. I went down to Nashville, Tennessee to do Crook and Chase, their Tonight Show version of the South. And they came into the Comedy Connection in Boston and picked a handful of us. And he was very energetic about it. He goes, "Go get him, Al." He was... cool. He was the doorman, but open micer guy, I think, at the time. And you go get him. And then they picked me because I did a shoot-up bit. Right. And they said, "That's the bit we want you to do. We want you to do that bit." So I'm behind the curtain, and it's a 5 cameras, and there's all these country singers, Reba McEntire, and who's the George Jones? Which one was he? No.
Oh my God! Jesus, I love that guy.
And Clint Black. And so they're all on the panel waiting for the segment to end, and then they're going to bring me out. And then the guy goes, "So what's going on, Clint?" He goes, "Well, we're doing some fundraisers to raise money for those kids that were shot at the playground 6 months ago." Oh my God!
The comedy of Al Duchamp.
So I had to bail, and I went out there, and I just remember Patrice going, "What the fuck was that?" The door guy, the bouncer's going, "What did you do? You're supposed to do the shoot-up thing. I was fucking waiting. You didn't fucking do it." Well, I told him what happened. He goes, "Oh, well, yeah."
Yeah.
But back to him. I made it about me for a second, but I had no idea the comedian that he actually became until towards the end. It was like, wow, this guy he's there.
Oh, dude, there's no way. Even he was an experience. Just walking down the street with that guy, it just never stopped. It never stopped, and he was like addicted to confrontation and just being brutally honest. There was a lot of self-sabotage. But it was also what made him so fascinating, just watching that guy. I mean, the amount of fucking people that I saw that came up to him that could have changed his career and the shit that he said to them. And like, dude, and I'm telling you, like, I started thinking just hanging out with him was hurting my career.
Well,
that guy...
He was a double-edged sword because he was very likable in one way, but if he was brutally honest, and if you were the person in his sight, whoa!
He came up with this fucked up thing that he was like, "I come at people and I fuck with them, and if you can take it, then I know that you like me or you're cool with me." I don't know what it was. And it's just like, I really think about that stuff still. Where I was like, was I being a good friend? Because I was just so like, wow, I've never met a guy like this in my life. I should have been like, dude, you're kind of just being rude. Like, do you like when you just meet somebody and they kind of tell you to go fuck yourself or your shirt's too tight or like, but I will say though, there were people that loved it. But what he did was I'm telling you, dude, when he first came to New York, like all the managers, all the club owners, they almost fainted. They were like, "Oh my God, the chosen one has come." And they were just like, "We're going to get this kid in Montreal the very first year," and he would have gotten it, and he would have got some 6-figure fucking deal and all that. But the thing about him was he wasn't ready. He was really like not ready to be out there. And he was really like, he wasn't like the way when I saw Dane and Kevin Hart. They came there like, bring it. If you fucking told the two of them, 2 years into their career, go host SNL. They'd be like, fucking bring it. You know what I mean? I mean, I was like, I don't know, 28 years into my career, and they got me SNL, and I was like, great. And was like, okay, awesome. And I'm like, fuck, this is too big, you know? He was more of that, like, ilk, and so he kind of deliberately self-sabotaged it, and in a way acted like an asshole to all of these people, and it was like, he had this weird thing where he went to New York, everybody wanted him, and he blew by all of these people, and then deliberately pushed the yoke forward and nose dived into the ground, and went through that. But and I think part of it was he wasn't ready. But then I also think that only you know what you have in you, and then when you start exploring it, even you as a person, you find you have way more than you thought. And he wanted to do the rooms. He wanted to do the late shows. He wanted it to be built in bedrock, not on, like, I remember Jackie Flynn saying to Patrice, going, dude, the second the industry sees you, that's it. You're going to get a sitcom. You even have the name, Patrice. Patrice on NBC, I can see it. And just how funny, just think of that was the perception of him and who the fuck he really was.
It's a lot of pressure, too.
Yeah, he didn't want to do a fucking sitcom. He wanted to combine Pryor and Carlin.
Right.
So what he had to kind of do to keep all of these fucking guys, hey, man, I really think you're funny. All these fucking, you know who I'm doing, right? He just was an asshole to him.
No tolerance for BS either, though, which is part of the game in show business or any business.
He had a lot of his own BS, too, dude. He was like, he's just like everybody, man. We're all fucking hypocrites and shit. So he talked a great game. He loved bullshit. He was as full of shit as anybody I ever met, while being the most honest person I ever met. And that's like honest assessment of him.
But he was a comedy junkie, and I know you said many times that you gave him a ride home to Mattapan, and you lived in Canton, a couple of towns over.
West Roxbury he lived in.
Okay.
I used to take him home every single night during the week until we started getting like weekend gigs for like Dick Doherty and shit. We'd be, obviously we were coming up at the same time. So if I was hosting, he was hosting, so we wouldn't like work together.
Well, you guys would sit and talk shop for hours, you said, and I gave him a ride home twice, and I had to drive back to Rhode Island, so I had another hour to go. So I was just like, get out of my car so I can go home. I'm exhausted because he had lots of questions and he would just talk, and it was 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I'm like, dude, it's 2 a.m. But you guys bonded, and it was a special bond you had there, and I just thought the documentary was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, we did. We had a hell of a friendship there for a minute. We did. It got a little fucked up with that Opie and Anthony bullshit, but what sucks is what sucks is the way that went down, and then how it was hard to put it back together just because of where our lives were. Because we had arguments like that all the fucking time, but we would just see each other the next day, and then it was over. Like, I remember when the OJ trial was on, and Mark Furman came up, dropping the N-word and all that shit. And he's just like, you can't convict him on shit like this. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that guy's obviously a racist cop. But, dude, the guy fucking did it. And he got so mad at me. We got this big fuck you fight. And because I was doing the classic white guy thing, I wasn't listening to him. I was just fucking, I was doing the sports team thing, right? Arguing my side versus his side. But then the next day, we were just over it. But like that thing, that just sort of lingered for a while. And right as we were starting to come out of it, because then I like moved to LA right after that, so I just wouldn't see him. So it was just always, every time I came back and saw him after that, for like the last 3 years of his life, I felt like that sort of was still like lingering. And I also wasn't developed enough as a human being to know how to sit, because we sat there and said, dude, is it squashed? It's squashed. And then, all right, man, so what are you having tonight? You having a falafel? I mean, that's not how you do it. There was shit that went sideways and needed to be worked out, but neither one of us knew how to do it. And I remember one of the last times I worked with them at Comics Come Home, and they gave us the same dressing room. And I remember sitting there, and he came walking in and sat down like perpendicular to me, or maybe even next to me. And we sat there for 20 minutes in silence, stubbornly, not talking to each other. And it's just like, that was one of the hard lessons that I learned. Because when you're younger, you think that your friends are your friends. And then what happens is something like what happened to him. And then you realize like, oh, like that is not mine. That is a gift. Enjoy it and fix it if it gets fucked up. And because, any day you can get hit by a bus or fucking, I have a stroke like he did. So it was definitely a hard lesson to learn.
Well, you do the fundraisers every year, and it's a great tribute. The documentary is awesome. But definitely listen or watch the documentary, Patrice O'Neal, Killing is Easy. It's really, really good. It's really good. And I saw the shorter version, and now I want to go back and watch. Is there an extra half hour I'm missing?
Oh, man. I mean...
I still want to see Rich.
Should have been at least a two-parter.
Right. Well, I want to see you shit on Rich Voss again, because he looked at you when you're at the round table at the Cellar, and he said, "You have crow's eyes." No. You went, "No, you moron. You don't even know what the fuck it is. It's crow's feet."
Oh, God. That was just... those stupid days at the table. It's just 6 damaged children that were now adults, just being mean on the playground. But, people used to fucking avoid that. I used to avoid the table. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, because that's another thing that's been romanticized, that it was just everybody down the cellar. You sat at the table and trashed each other. It didn't happen every night. There was shit happen, but there was people that just steadfast avoided it. Like they would come in, they'd stand out in the front of the club if Patrice was in there, waiting for their spot, and then go down the stairs, do their shit, and just fucking leave. And I used to think that was funny. Going, look at these fucking pussies, can't fucking come in here. And now I look, it's like, no, they're healthy. Those are healthy people.
But didn't it give you armor so that you could handle things, even like Philadelphia? No.
No, it didn't. It just made me feel terrible and question everything that I was wearing in my wardrobe.
There was no takeaway. There was nothing, a confidence builder.
I mean, listen. No. I guess if you want to say doing that toxic shit to each other made me better at being mean and ignoring my feelings and wearing muted colors like a black shirt. What can you say about this, huh, you fuckers? It was, it's like anything. It's like anything. It's like, you take heroin once, it's great. I imagine that fucking, you feel like you're in your mother's arms, and then you chase that for the rest of your fucking life. Next thing you know, you're a junkie pulling out your teeth on a fucking street corner. So, I would take breaks from it. I would literally take breaks from that club. Just being like, I just want to go back to just being a comedian. I used to walk to the club, and I'd have 6 in the chamber for each of them.
Yeah, you had to, right?
Oh yeah.
That was just to get to the stage? Was that?
I remember when Keith, Patrice, and Kev would all come in at the same time. They'd all fucking come in, because acting like they were going to take over the shit. What they really realized is when you walked in, you were a sitting duck, because it was such a long walk with comedian brains to get from the front door to all the way there that you were already 3 punches behind. So they would come in all loud, look at this guy, like they were these badasses, but it wasn't. What they were doing was getting everybody on their heels so they could get to the table without, what's that thing in the military where you have a blanket party? Like, that's what it was, as you walk in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Al's a former Navy guy. Al, you have a show tonight, do you not?
I do. I have a show, actually. I have an outdoor show, about 40 minutes away. So I'm okay. I'm all right now.
All right. We're good for a few minutes. We all have to get together at some point and do the cigar thing, because Al's a big cigar guy. And when are you going to be on the cover of one of these magazines, cigar magazines? When is that going to happen, Bill?
Me or Al?
Bill.
I think Bill will be first.
Yeah? We already made it inside. We had a picture inside.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude, I'm not... I don't fit the narrative, dude.
No?
No.
It's just... It's a fucking weird time. I just do what the fuck I do. And I don't, I love that magazine, but like I don't. It's not on my agenda. I don't need to do that shit.
I have it, and I don't think I've even read the last 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love the magazine, but it's just like, it's like my interview. Well, what's your favorite cigar? I'm like, I'm a fucking animal. You give me anything I can light, I'm gonna smoke it.
Yeah.
Whatever you gave me last time when we were watching the Bruins game, you said that was right here on Sunset Boulevard, right? That
Cuban Seed.
Cuban Seed. Okay.
He has. He's got some great ones over there. He's got some great ones. Because I kind of stopped trying to get Cuban cigars because it's just make them fucking legal. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be like this fucking gumshoe to try to figure out. And the only way to really tell is you light it. And as you light it, if it's real, you say, "Oh my God."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you're lighting, you're like, "Oh my God."
I'm gonna go have one now. I'm gonna go have one now. As a matter of
There's Fuente just opened a new joint in Tampa at an old church called the Grand Cathedral. He's got a lot of the Casa Cuba. It's all the Cuban seed, and the thing is, I mean, it's like, it's a mild price. I don't know, like $12. Mm-hmm. Probably the greatest $12 stick you're ever going to find in your life.
Yeah, I'd rather go with some. You know what? I love the nubs. The Connecticut wrap, one of those, like 3 in the afternoon. I'm in heaven. I'm being a good boy though this month. I kind of shut everything down.
But
I use the nubs to walk my dog. I do a dog walking. I'll take a nub, and if I'm gonna get almost done with it, I go, that's a good walk.
Yeah, half hour. Right?
That's a good walk. Yeah.
Bill, what's coming up next? You got so many projects again that were locked and loaded. What's happening? You got Mandalorian, by the way. Finally, I haven't watched full episodes, but I saw some clips where you actually hold Baby Yoda, and I know Star Wars wasn't your big thing growing up, but all of a sudden you're in Mandalorian, which is pretty cool.
I think it helped me that it wasn't, because I kind of wasn't like when I did Inside the NFL, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here, and that's never good for performance.
You were right at home there. You gave shit right back to those guys. And was it Boomer that wrenched your shoulder? Was it?
Ow! Fucking my ribs.
Was it your ribs? Didn't he bruise them or stretch your muscle?
Yeah, because he was standing up for some quarterback, and when I had my arms down to the side, dude, that guy. You know what's funny? Because you see
enormous.
These quarterbacks. Yeah, but when you watch football, you don't think they're that big because quarterbacks get ragdolled. At least they did when he played. Right. Slammed down onto the AstroTurf. So he comes over, big country boy fucking Boomer Esiason, like 6'4", 6'5", and I'm little ass feature act comedian with my hands down by my side, and he goes to pick me up with my hands like that, and rather than where you put the pressure on the back, this friggin' animal, he did it I gave him shit on his show, and he goes, it's not my fault you come from weak people. Dude, he's hilarious. I love him.
Is he? Yeah.
I fucking love Boomer Esiason, but that fucking animal picked me up. He squeezed in from the side, and I just heard on the side, and me still with my need to be liked. I said, he goes, "You all right?" I go, "I think that was my back," and I knew it was my ribs.
Right.
And I just didn't want to make him feel bad, and he goes, "No, I think that was your ribs."
Oh, he knew. He's done it before.
Yeah, so then, of course, typical German-Irish guy, I don't get it looked at.
This will go away a couple of days.
Dude, 2 days later, I was getting out. I got an old pickup truck, and I'm getting out of this thing at the Comedy Store. It's some of the best laughs I ever got in my life. I was just going like, It was all spasming. And it's just, there's something about the ribs. It was like,
in there, yeah.
I felt like back pain was the worst. Ribs, it's just breathing hurts.
Yeah.
And then somebody makes you laugh, and then if you're going to sneeze, you're like, oh, no.
Getting out of bed, throwing your legs out of bed, because I did. I cracked a rib. Throwing your legs out of bed, that moment from it just goes off the edge of the bed before it touches the floor is like, ah! And then you stand upright, you're okay. But, Hey, another thing. You had your Glenn Ross moment. Was it stand-up guy where you walked in the bar and fucking, was it Walken, the scene with Walken? Am I mixing up movies?
No, stand-up guy, yeah. Stand-up guys.
Stand-up guys.
Alan Arkin, Al Pacino.
You had the bar scene.
And Christopher Walken. Yeah.
Your character was repping the mob, kind of?
Yeah.
But
the bad guy.
You were Alec Baldwin. That was your Alec Baldwin performance.
I wasn't.
You ran that fucking scene. They were all fearful of you, and it was believable.
Well, that's because they were acting, but they weren't. But I will say that that those guys were two of the nicest guys I ever worked with. They were really into stand-up comedy, and Christopher Walken was a Patrice O'Neill fan.
Wow.
Patrice had just passed. Died, yeah. Like we did that in 2012, and Patrice died in November of 11. And I remember he said to me, like he watched a lot of stand-up, and he really knew it. He goes, I feel like you can tell within the first minute if somebody's going to be good or not. He goes, whereas you can watch a play and it can be bad, and then it can get good.
Wow.
For a comedian, if they're not good in the first 2 minutes, he really knew. And he goes, I saw a guy the other night. He goes, really funny guy, really, really macho. He said, he goes, he really was coming down on women, but was really funny, but like macho. I go, what does he look like? He was a big black guy. And I go, Patrice O'Neill? And he goes, yeah. He goes, that's the guy.
That's so
and I was
cool.
standing there with him and Al Pacino. I still can't believe I have this story. And I was just like, I go, that guy is the greatest stand-up comedian I've ever seen. And unfortunately, he just passed away. And both of them, as you get older, that's the big question. Oh, of what? And they were really listening. And yeah, it was an amazing thing, and then also really sad because I would have loved to have called Patrice and said, "You're not going to believe this. I got this little part in this movie, and I had a scene with Christopher Walken, and he's a fan of your stand-up." And he kept calling you macho. Because, he's from like the 60s and 70s,
Right.
So I just kept picturing Patrice with this big medallion, and it was like, I told him that, though. I said he was a huge fan of both of you guys, and it would have been such a thrill. And those guys were like, they were into acting the way we were into comedy, where like, guys like us, I mean, I don't give a broom closet. If there's a microphone, I get excited. Like, I want to go up and go do some time. When we were doing some scene somewhere, it was a long time ago, Walken came in, and he was like, hey, Al, he goes, there's a little old theater right next door. You should poke your head in. You should check it out. It's great. Low ceilings. And like, he was almost like a comedian reading a room. And I was just like thinking like, wow, this is like this whole new world of, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing when I was working with those guys. I was just trying not to get fired. But like, I learned so much from those guys. But watching their passion after all of those years, and they had like self-deprecating humor, and they were there. That was really cool. That
was awesome, dude. And your acting chops, so impressed. When I can forget who you are when you're on camera, that's a great thing, So do you consider yourself a sports fanatic or a sports fan, obviously? Or
what's it?
Yeah. What category do you put yourself in? Because
I'm a fanatic.
Because you know sports too well, and I feel a little intimidated around you.
But will you watch any sport, or is it just the basic football? Would you watch golf? Do you watch
Formula
tennis?
One?
Watch MotoGP.
Anything? You'll watch anything. You'll just watch
motorcycle
sports?
racing. I'll watch F1. Although F1's a little boring because Lewis Hamilton, who's the Jordan of the sport, is just so fucking good, and Mercedes is so good. Although last I heard, he's having like a contract dispute with them. But like, it just sort of, and the cars are so big now, really fat and low to the ground, that it just kind of became a race to the first turn. And if he was in first place in the first turn, you might as well just fast forward the next 70 laps because he's going to win. The best races were when, if he had a problem qualifying and was in second or third place, so you'd get to see, a little bit of racing.
So he's the
but
Tom Brady of F1, right?
Huh?
He's the Tom Brady of F1. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's kind of. But there's like different eras. I mean, I kind of got into the sport in like 2015, but I think back in the day it was a lot more competitive. It's kind of like Ferrari and Mercedes have like the most money, and then maybe like Red Bull. So it's like what basketball has become with sort of the super teams, where I mean, it's good for building your numbers and shit, but like the NBA is not like. I watch sports for competition. That's why I'm kind of not into F1. I'm like, this is getting boring. And really the best racing is in the middle of the pack, and they rarely show it because they got to show the golden boys up front. But basketball's the same way. It's like, I don't want to watch the 10 best guys all get on the same fucking team and then go around the league beating up fucking third-round draft picks.
I mean, we almost know it's going to be, I mean, unless, something happens, but it's probably going to be New Jersey and L.A.
Yeah.
That's going to be the final. We know that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bad summertime movie where it's just like, all right,
let's get there, but we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They have the top three. You got LeBron and Davis, and that's going to be the final. So I miss the old days of that where, you built a team up, but, every sport has changed.
Well, what are you supposed to do as a Pelicans fan or like a Charlotte Hornet fan or something where it's basically like you're not allowed to keep your stars. You can suck enough to draft them, but you're not going to be able to pay them. They're going to lose, and they just kind of eventually end up
on the best team
in L.A. or Golden State did it a little bit, but Golden State also had like those first championships, before Kevin Durant came in. That's what it kind of became like ridiculous.
You need great, like I'm in Tampa, and the Rays have no money, but they're always there. If you have great people, it seems you can do it somewhat. You know what I mean? Like they'll get great players.
Tampa has incredible general man, like what Steve Yzerman did with the Lightning. Obviously, the Buccaneers just winning the Super Bowl, but like I always equate it to the Michael Jordan documentary, where The Last Dance, and there's that moment where he kept getting beaten by the Pistons. He couldn't beat him, so he starts lifting weights. He gets even better on defense. He starts passing the ball, and that was like this huge moment of growth. And with all these kids today, it's going to be like, so what happened? Did you lift weight? Nah, I just joined the Pistons.
Right.
So it's just kind of like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, even the Bucks sort of had built. I mean, they had a good team, but they put together sort of a super team this year. Once you had Brady, then you get Gronk, and you get Antonio Brown, and you get Fournette. I mean, that never would happen.
It was
all
awesome.
because of Brady.
Well, I mean, Gronk is, Gronk was tired because he was in so much pain.
14 months of rest, though, did him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever come down. The NFL is about as fair as it's a really great run league. NHL is great. MLB is better than it was, but in the early that's why I don't have a problem with like the Houston Astros banging on the trash cans. It's like, look, they would spend $200 million if they had it, but like those late 90s, like 98 to like, I don't know, 07, 08, 09 was kind of like the roided up Yankees versus the roided up fucking Red Sox. We had roided up free agents, $180, $200 million teams just clashing. It was fun to watch them play, but like I don't remember a second of when we played the Colorado Rockies. It was stupid. And I'll even say the 2008 Boston Celtics when we got Kevin Durant for nobody. Kevin Garnett for nobody. Like we just sort of bought a title, but I mean the Lakers kind of created that game way back with Kobe, Shaq, Phil Jackson. They sort of started the super team thing. They were at the forefront of it. I'm not coming down on the Lakers because I really feel that Stern should have done something about it, but he seemed to love it because he said his dream finals was the Lakers versus the Lakers because he was just sort of about ratings. Yep. To a fault because he was a great president and everything, but I don't know. I got a lot of shit. Like I thought the NBA was like ridiculously finessed and massaged for a good 12, 14 years because I think they stepped in shit with Bird and Magic and saw that was this winning business formula. And then Jordan came and then they like passed football and everybody. And then they wanted to keep it going. And I think at first they thought it had to be, we got to get the Lakers Celtic thing going again. And then I think with LeBron going to Miami and then everybody watching the Heat, they were like, oh, this really isn't about the cities necessarily as it is about the players.
Right.
But there's something about L.A., though, that Stern loved. So I don't know. It's just that, and it's a weird thing to be born. I was born in '68. To watch it go from, you wanted to beat the best, and to gradually being like, no, I want to just join the best. I'm sick of losing to those guys.
But I was a big basketball fan as a kid, but it's hard to get into now for me. I just I mean, as the other sports, but because I know what it's gonna. I know what the finals
college
look
hoop
like.
Sucks too with the one and done shit. It's just
it's horrible.
You can't
it's stupid.
watching like those amazing relationships. I mean, I get it because those kids are so getting screwed. The fact that if they become a star, that they don't get a cut of even people buying their jersey.
And this has been talked about for 40 years. It's never going to change. I don't know. I remember as a kid hearing we should be paying these college athletes. We should do it, and they never do. Nothing's changed.
Considering some of them have career-ending injuries,
they should bail. I get it, but it sucks.
Yeah, and their contribution helped to build a whole nother dorm fucking apartment complex.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
it's weird.
I have to say, as a kid or a young man in the late '80s and early '90s, living in the Boston area, the Celtics, that excitement, that rivalry, that was a time. But it disappeared for me. That whole area. Yes, the Michael Jordan you mentioned, that was another time to help me get back into it a little bit. But I'm the same way. I'm just not into it as much as when I was a kid. And we talked about this a few weeks ago about hockey. I said I don't get into hockey until like April, May. And you're like, what are you talking about, dude? It's Canadian hockey is crazy right now. It's like every game's a playoff because they're playing in Canada. They're not crossing the border.
They're just playing in Canada, yeah. And we're playing sort of like it's mainly the old Patrick division versus two Adams division teams, the Bruins and the Sabres. So it's really like, and you play a lot of back-to-back games, those home and home games, which were always great during the regular season. Now everything is like a home and home game. And it's kind of been great for the league. The NHL, I watched them just make so many bad moves over the years. And just the last 6-7 years, they keep picking the right cities. Nashville, Vegas, they're going to put a team in Seattle. Seattle fans are incredible fans, and I think they're going to go nuts for that.
It's such a great sport, such a great game. I'm amazed that the ratings never get better, over the years. Like, they're not one of the top. It just seems like that's such a great sport to be watching, especially playoff
they always
hockey.
talk about people can't see the puck and it's better live and blah, 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 blah,
bullshit.
blah. What it is, there's only so much room. You already have 3 major ones. There's only so much room, and so somebody's going to be the odd man out. And a lot of times I wish that hockey would have accepted that role rather than trying to round off the edges and sort of, disenfranchise some hardcore fans to try to get all these liars who every 4 years during the Olympics are like, no, this is the kind of hockey I like. If they played like this, then I would watch. And they actually placated those people, and they continued to not watch.
Right.
So now, there's, I don't know. It's definitely it's a really different game now.
Yeah, it is.
What I grew up watching.
Does it bother you without fans there? Like, do you even notice the games
not
when you're
anymore.
watching TV?
No,
I don't either.
It. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be I'm fine with it.
It sounds like they're there to me. I mean,
yeah, it's all good.
Big TV, sound system.
Dude, I'm willing to go the next step further. I wish that you could have an option to have no announcers and I could just hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
Have like an NC-17. You can't get offended. And you can't post anything, which nobody would do because everybody's a fucking rat now. And you could actually just hear them, what they say, and like, that's an amazing thing. Like, what's been great about the UFC is no fans. You can hear just what I used to think were just sort of bullshit kicks and stuff. You just hear me like, oh my God. I would have collapsed. Like, a lot of those leg kicks look like sort of the leg version of a jab, which also rocks your brain, but you're just so used to them taking it that you convince yourself that it doesn't hurt. But when you watch UFC now and there's no crowd, those leg kicks.
Oh
my God! I was just like, how do you just shake off a black belt's Charlie horse, or you kick and you both go shin to shin, and you just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna shake that off. I mean,
that's like a 2x4.
I mean, you just went down.
Yeah, your whole body absorbs all of that. It's again, they're in physical shape, but a finger in the middle of my chest, I'm down for the count.
Threat of it.
Do we have anything else you can mention that's coming up? I saw some things post-production or in production.
Yeah, everybody's all weird about. I guess if it's written on there, I did a day on 2 different things towards the end of the year, and. But I'll promote those things when they come out. And then there's a chance I might be doing a run of maybe a couple of stand-up. I did 3 spots last night out here in L.A. 3 outdoor spots.
Parking lots.
One of them being a parking lot that they had walls all around. I don't even give a shit.
I don't
It's
care
like,
now.
No, it's just like, well, now, like, you know, outdoor gigs used to suck. Now I don't even notice that I'm outdoors. Like, you just adjust.
Yeah.
Like people in cars, I'm like, okay, this is what killing sounds like now. And I'm like, oh, man, the amount of they flickering their lights, man. I was feeding off of that, you know?
Yes. No, and I get it because I've been doing the Zoom ones, and when they offer them, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And then when it comes to like an hour before doing them, I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Because I guess I'm doing it for me in my head and to concentrate. But the outdoor experience, whether it's a car,
still a show, still feels like stand up.
It's a show. You're doing an outdoor one tonight, correct? Yeah.
I am. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
in a few minutes.
Maybe I can fly out in a few minutes. All right, we're going to let him go. Bill, thanks so much for coming on the Talking
No
Dicks.
worries.
Thank you, Bill.
And we were born out of the pandemic, and I can't wait for us all to get together when this shit is over with, light up a stick and do some shows.
Absolutely. And thank you for your brilliant, brilliant work on F is for Family. You were one of our favorites to write for, dude. You really were, man.
The
You're
breakout
amazingly
character of
talented.
season 3.
Yeah. People loved it, dude.
I loved the response. It was great, and thanks for hooking me up with that. Absolutely.
No worries. All right, Al, have
thanks,
a good
Bill.
show, man. Break a leg,
Thank you,
brother.
buddy. Thank you,
All right,
man.
we'll see you.
Appreciate it.
Later. The Talking Dicks Comedy Podcast is brought to you by Handley Watches. If you want to have a good time, you got to have a good watch. HandleyWatches.com. Isn't that right, Al?
That is, yeah. I say basically, screw that Apple Watch, get yourself a Handley, and you'll know what time it is.
No, really, don't mess with me, because I don't come down to the bus station and slap the dick out of your mouth when you're working, do I? Oh, get on up here, motherfucker. Give me security. I'm sorry, man. The guy fucking came at me. What do you think, folks?
No way.
Okay, show.
All right. Subscribe.
Mary.
Patreon.com/forward2dicks.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money.
I think it ends on that. That's beautiful.